Welcome to your end of semester Vault cleanup webinar. These are today's presenters. My name is Abby and I'm a professional services specialist here at Omegafy. And we have Hannah, who is also a professional services specialist, who will be in the Q&A chat answering your questions throughout the webinar. For today's agenda, we're going to be going over the cleanup checklist, looking at setting up summer billing or reminders in Vault, a live Q&A, and then I'll share our contact information in Vault Help Center at the end. So for the cleanup checklist, we're going to be looking at removing alumni and other non-returning members, making sure last term's initiated members are listed as initiates, add new members, update officers, update Vault user access, give non-returning members an inactive billing status, update billing groups and assign new members to billing groups, confirm the upcoming term's billing is set up and correct, update statement contact information, add any missing transactions from the last term, archive old members, pay any outstanding bills or invoices, and update officer purchasing cards and review your notifications. All right, so we'll go ahead and look at Vault.
So let's go through. So for our cleanup checklist, we're removing alumni and other non-returning members. So that's all going to be updating membership statuses. Some of y'all in this webinar, I know, have databases that are outside of Omegafy, in which case you will update their member status in your database. So if it's like Chapter Spot or Chapter Gateway or any of those things, you'll make it there. It automatically pushes into Vault. It's probably the same thing you did to add new members if you had like spring new members. But if you do update your member statuses in Vault, you'll just go to the chapter tab and then it'll say update member statuses and you can see your members listed here. So it'll automatically filter it. So right now it's filtered by new member. But if I look at my initiates, I can go through here and I can select a few people. We'll pick some at random. Monty Gunderson's my dog that I put in here, so I can definitely update that one to alumni. And then we'll change it to alumnus or alumni. You guys, again, may have different member statuses just based on your national organization. But that is what the default is for our accounts. And I'll scroll to the bottom and you can click update member status. And now those people will be moved to an alumni status. And that is just for the member status. So the reason you're updating that is to make sure that like come fall, you guys aren't going to be charged by your headquarters for these members when they're graduated, because most of y'all's national or international offices are using this member status, this member roster, to look at the number of initiates you have, look at the number of new members you have, and that's how they calculate what they're going to invoice you. Once you update that, then you're going to want to move over and move them off your billing roster, because the billing roster is what Omegafy uses to charge you guys. So we don't look at this member status at all. We look at who's in an active billing status and we calculate that against your Omegafy collection fee, and that's how we charge you come fall. So before the fall, you're going to want to go to the billing tab here and you're going to do update billing statuses. Oops, I didn't even click it. Billing statuses. And what'll be really nice about this is you can like scroll through and do it in mass like the member status. So we can reorganize our list here to have our alums up top and we can select their names. I'm purposely going to skip over Monty to show you another thing you can do in just a second, but you can select their names here. We're going to move them to inactive. That's the only other status there can be, so it automatically changes it to that. And the reason for these ones are going to be alum. Now, if you had other members in here, you'll be able to check the box, and if they dropped or they disassociated, you can see there's all these different statuses that you can choose from that will match up with your members. But for these, they're graduating, so they're going to be alums. I'm going to go to the bottom, click update billing status, and now it's going to move them off of our active billing roster. Now, the reason I left Monty as an alum that's in active billing is we do have a section under this billing tab that will help catch things that you may have missed. So if you go to review roster and billing discrepancies, this is going to pull all of your members that have a member status that we think probably should have an inactive billing status. So if you have members that are alums, disassociated, expelled, suspended, dropped, depledged, any of those member statuses, and we see that they're in active billing, the system kind of puts them here as just like a way for you to check yourself. So maybe you look at this and you're like, you know what, like Monty is an alum, but he's going to be living in the house over the summer. So we're going to leave him on the roster so we can charge him rent over the summer. Maybe you'd leave him, but it is an easy way to check your work. So if we did look here and we're like, you know what, he is supposed to be moved, we can check his name here. The billing status again is going to be because he's an alum, update billing status, and you can move them to inactive billing from this page as well. Something I did want to show you, which will go to our next point of cleaning up officers and updating officers and vault user access, all that kind of goes together, is when you look at this member list by billing group. Oh, excuse me. I wanted to go to the update billing statuses. When you go to this list, you'll see some people have these exclamation points and it doesn't let you check their name to move them to inactive billing. That's because they have vault access. So what you'd have to do is look at one of these, like if we wanted to maybe archive or remove Will, maybe not even archive him, just mark him inactive. What we have to do first is go up to this settings icon. We have to click vault users and we're going to have to find him on our list of vault users. So we can see he's listed here. He's the undergraduate officer, the secretary. We can click this little trash can icon and it's going to remove his vault access. Now that's not going to delete his Omegafy account or anything like that. He can still pay dues. He can still log in. It just means he can't log into Vault. So he'll still have my Omegafy, but he won't be on here. And then if we go back to update his billing status, you'll see that he no longer will have that exclamation point by his name. So we could select him here, move him to inactive. Maybe he's just going to be gone for the next semester, or not deep pledge. I wanted to put co-op. Maybe he's going to be on a co-op, so he won't be paying dues next semester. So we could update his billing status and that will move him. In addition to updating these vault users and removing all old vault users, you're going to want to make sure that your officers are updated. They should most likely already be done. But if you had any change of positions like over the semester, I know sometimes people have to step down due to like coursework, or maybe over the summer, like they just have a lot going on with internships and they aren't going to be able to do their officer position anymore. I know my sorority had a few of those and they would switch over. You'll go here and you can update it. So you just click this edit officers button. Some of you won't have this button and it's because you make these updates in your database. So go ahead and do that. But if you wanted to update it, you just click edit officers and then you have these pick lists to assign whoever you want to be in that position. We just updated these on the test account, so I'm going to leave them as is, but that would be where you would go to update it. The other thing that you're going to want to do once you update officers, and I'm kind of zigzagging here, is if you have a new officer that is going to be the primary contact for Vault, so usually it's going to probably be y'all who are in this meeting. If you're the treasurer, president, sometimes we have alumni treasurers who manage this for the chapter. You're going to want to make sure you go to billing and then review the statement contact information. So this isn't just the information that's going in the statement. This is also the information we see on the Omegafy side of things. So even if, let's say, Steve is still the treasurer, if you're going to have a different primary contact over the summer, like maybe let's say the president's going to be the primary contact because Steve has, again, like an internship and he just needs like those 2 months to be doing something else. You want to update this information here because this is what we're going to use when we have to reach out to you guys over the summer if anything comes up. So if we have, members reaching out with questions about their balance, or maybe you guys sent bill pay checks that got voided because nobody ever cashed them or whatever it is, we need to make sure we're reaching out to the right person. So it's really important that you're double checking the statement contact information and having it up to date for the summer. So we're emailing the right person and not sending you 100 emails if you're at an internship and your president is going to be the one managing all this stuff for you.
So to look at the billing groups, you'll go to the billing tab and then update billing groups. And updating your billing groups lets the system know which charges each member should receive. And here you can move your new members to the initiate billing group, so you can filter by new member and then choose either active or initiate, whatever your new billing group is. And then you would just click update billing groups. And then if you have different billing groups like in-house, payment plan, or other groups where charges might be different, you can also update that here. And you can either filter by group or you can click no filter to see all of your members. So then to see the specific charges for each billing group under the billing tab and then billing overview. And then you'll be able to see a breakdown of all of the charges for each group. And this is also the same place that you'll set up your billing for any future terms. And if you charge your members over the summer, you can set it up here. If you want to do reminders, that'll also be set up here. And the reminder statements, they don't include any new charges, but members will receive statements showing any outstanding balances. To set up the summer reminders, you'll just click set up billing, like where Hannah selected it, and then summer 2025, and then choose your first due date. And then you'll have the option to either decide if you do or don't want late fees. And then if you want to change those preset dates, you can just reach out to operations support and we can help make those updates. So then you would copy over charges from a previous term. So we chose summer 2023. And then I believe there's only one billing group in this term that had charges. So if you are planning on charging your members for the summer, you would just click edit charges. And you could enter in the new charges for each billing group that you want to charge for that term. And then if you do want to just do reminders, you could delete all of those charges and save. And then if you're wanting to only send out the summer reminders, again, that will only notify members of their outstanding balances. But yeah, once you're done with all of these steps, setting up the billing, you would just save and complete. But I do want to add that if you are charging for the summer, to make sure that all of your billing groups have been updated so that members are charged correctly. And then some of y'all might not have access to set up billing through Vault due to your national organization, but you can always reach out to us if you have any questions. And then if you have miscellaneous charges that need to be added, whether that's for merchandise, a fine, or if there were some missed charges from a previous term, you can add them by going to add transactions en masse under the billing tab. And then you would select the name, the type, whether it was a charge or a credit, the description, and that could be a t-shirt or a fine. The income account, we could just say it's chapter dues, and then the amount. And then you would scroll down once you've added all of your charges, create transactions, and those will post the following day, and then those charges will be reflected on the next statements that are sent out. So now we'll look at under the Bill Pay tab. And if your chapter uses Bill Pay, you'll want to make sure that there aren't any outstanding invoices or bills, and you can click into payments. And if there's any outstanding bills, they'll show there, and then you can click into the bill, and it will let you either add a payment or you can delete it if that bill is not needed anymore. And then also under the Bill Pay tab, you can review your officer purchasing cards. And here you can either deactivate any old cards or you can add a new one as needed for the new officer. And then also under, and then also under the Bill Pay tab, you'll be able to grant new officers bill pay permissions. So that'll be under administration and then user access. And this is a little bit different from using the gear icon for the Vault access. It gives you access to see the tab, but not to make any changes underneath the Bill Pay tab. So here you could give an officer permission to view bills, enter bills, manage vendors, or manage cards. And then you can also give them permission to different funds and what they'll be able to do in those funds. And as you can see, like the print checks locally, self-refund, and self-reimburse, those are grayed out, so you won't be able to edit those. And I'm sure that there are definitely some that you won't have the full ability to grant all permissions. Okay, and the last thing I wanted to mention, just to make sure there aren't any outstanding notifications, is just to click the little bell icon for your notifications. And it will show you if there are any invalid addresses, if you need to set up billing for the next term, or if there are any Vault users that don't have a title, or any other discrepancies that our system will flag. And I think that takes care of most of the cleanup checklist, but I also wanted to show an additional resource for any questions you might have. You can click the Get Help button, and that will bring you to our Vault Help Center for any frequently asked questions. Okay. And now that we've gone through the cleanup items, does anybody have any questions?
Yes, Cody asked a question. It's actually a really good question because we get it a lot. They were asking if all of their bills are paid off, if there's a way to transfer money from their bill pay account into their chapter bank account. And the answer is yes. Just a couple things, like we have to, one, make sure that your bank account is linked to your bill pay fund. So you would reach out to operations support at omegafy.com or whatever your like support person is. Sometimes I know you guys have a little bit of different emails. You'll reach out to them and make sure that that bank account's linked. If it is linked, all you have to do is go to this bill pay tab, and then you're going to click transfers, and then you'll add, it's a one-time transfer, and you'll put in the amount. If you want to see how much is in your bill pay fund, you could click in here. This is a test account, so it's like pretty broke, but let's pretend there was like $100 in there. And then if your bank account's linked, it'll show up here. So instead of bill pay fund, there'll be another section that says external bank accounts, and you'll be able to click it and transfer it. Now, something that I know you guys run into is if it is from a national dues and fees fund, those funds can be semi-locked where you can put money in them, but you can't easily take money out. If you want to take money out of it, you'll probably just need to get approval from your national office, your headquarters. So what you can do is email them and say like, hey, we've paid all of our invoices, are dues for the semester, like, can we go ahead and get the remaining money out of this? They'll approve it and copy the support person on there, and then we'll be able to initiate the transfer to your bank account. So it kind of just depends on what account it is, but the answer, that was a long answer, but the short answer is yes, you can move the money to your bank account. Joy asked how they can add a processing fee for dues. So usually what we do is you take the total amount for that billing cycle and you just multiply it by, I think it's 0.0305, and it'll kind of offset because there's varying amounts for the different card processing fees, but I think that usually will cover most of it. And then you add it as an accounting fee. So you'll add like a line item that says accounting fee, and then you can assign it to chapter dues or accounting fees or whatever your different chart of account says. You can do that and you'll add a line item, and that way when people make payments, it'll offset that card processing fee. So you guys are actually receiving, if you're charging $100 chapter dues, it'll add like an extra like $3 and something cents to offset the card processing fee. So that way you actually collect the full $100. Now, if people use like an e-check where it's like a lower percent, then you guys just keep the extra money from the card process or the accounting fee that you add.
I also wanted to mention for that the credit card fees or processing fees, they will need to be added at the very beginning of the billing cycle. So they can't be added after payments have been submitted.
Yes, that's very true. And then we have one more question from Karen. She said, what is the best way to give back room deposits to members? Another good question. We recommend doing it through bill pay, assuming you have all the money in a bill pay fund, going to bill pay payments. And then what you're going to do is add them as like reimbursements. So you don't want to do it as a refund. You don't want to put like a big credit on their account and then refund them back. Like technically it'll work, but it can get a little messy if the member owes money in other categories. So they won't get their full security deposit back. It's going to apply to their other dues. We recommend just doing it as a reimbursement or adding it as like a bill outside of their transaction history. So that way it's done. The money goes directly to them instead of just applying to their other sorority or fraternity dues.
Thank y'all so much for joining us today. And if you have any questions, you can contact us at operationsupport@omegafide.com. That's operations support. So there's 2 S's. And then you can call or use the Get Help button in Vault. And I think that's it for today. So thank you so much again for joining us and have a great day.